Carl and Brendan here from Games, Brains and Head-Banging Life, gbhbl.com for short. Something a little bit different here, just a horror Q&A, so to speak, where I effectively am interviewing Brendan with a set number of questions that have been sent out to a number of bands already on the site. You can go check out some of them over the Halloween period. But I wanted to throw it Brendan's way as well, purely because he isn't always the horror person on the site. Ultimately, aside from Sometimes Dead is Better, that series, you don't talk about horror at all. So some of these questions, while they are basic ones, kind of to a degree, should be quite interesting, really.
Yeah. I mean, I'm obviously not anti-horror.
Of course.
It's not that. I used to even write the odd horror movie review on the site a long time ago. I think something happened over time where I found that because you guys write so many horror movie reviews, the likelihood of me watching a film that you guys haven't seen, aren't planning to review, or haven't already reviewed. I often watch a film and I go, oh, that was pretty good. I might write that one up. I check. No, they did that 4 years ago.
There is a lot of horror reviews on the site, so there is that problem. It happens to me as of the time recording. I wrote a horror review for a film I'd already seen and reviewed in 2017. It spoke volumes about the film that I didn't remember a single moment of it. So I watched it again, wrote the review. Then for some reason, I think I was doing some editing and something resonated. And I went, let me check the site, and was like, oh, I wrote the review for this in 2017.
Did you score it the same in both years?
I was harsher this time than I was the first time. So what are you going to do? But anyway, right. So let's get these out of the way. And it's simply this. We get Happy Halloween. Tell us, what is your perfect Halloween night?
What actual Halloween night?
Yeah, so it's Halloween night.
It's straightforward for me. Although I don't particularly enjoy the experience of it, I'm lucky enough to still have a daughter who's young enough that trick-or-treating is still an enjoyable experience.
Yep.
So we do tend to always meet up with our sister Kimberly and her kid, and sometimes some of the other family kids, and bring them trick-or-treating. Now, one of the things I enjoy about it the most is not the trick-or-treating experience, because that's not particularly enjoyable, to be honest with you. It's cold. It's fucking sometimes raining. You're just bowling around streets, like knocking on doors. Some people are really not into it.
Yep.
Tell you where to go. Some people are more into it, and that's cool. And then, people put a bit of effort in and come to the door and try and scare the kids. And that's all very enjoyable. But what I quite enjoy about it is my daughter tends to be a little bit more abstract with what she wants to be. Which is more fun. So like, she doesn't go, I want to be a zombie cheerleader or something like that. She wanted to be Wednesday Addams at one point. She's been Harley Quinn. She's been like these sorts of characters that she likes to go to it. And say, for example, this year she really wants to go as Coraline.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So so what we're spending the last couple of weeks doing is trying to work out this outfit. So like silly things like we bought like a clear pair of reading glasses really cheaply, took out the lenses for them, and then bought 2 large buttons that we can stick over the top of the lenses so that she can wear them as glasses. So she's got the big button eyes but can still see where she's. And it's that kind of aspect of it. It's the whole kind of planny, that sort of thing of it. That's what we do on Halloween night every year so far. And I'm also aware, I think part of the reason for why it's kind of like nice and special is I'm aware that, she's 10, going on 11, about to go into secondary school. Ain't going to be doing this for much more, So that's kind of, that's probably my perfect Halloween night, from a family perspective,
No, that's cool. That's cool. Okay. Then what is the perfect Halloween horror to put on? Not your favorite movie or anything like that, but the perfect Halloween horror that encapsulates it.
The obvious one to say is Halloween. And that probably would be it, but it's not one that we watch or will be watching purely again. Yeah. Like it always does, because there are some horrors that I think it's okay to introduce people at a younger age to. But I kind of have an opinion on this, that it has to be fantastical, right? Yep. It has to be not something they can apply to real life, because if it's the big fucking alien in space, they ain't waking up in the middle of the night hearing a noise thinking, oh shit, it's that fucking alien from space. Yeah. You show a 10 or 11-year-old Paranormal Activity, that kid ain't sleeping. Doesn't matter how scary it is or not, but they ain't sleeping because that shit's real in their head. And the problem with Halloween is, like, aside from the fact that dude don't die, it's a person bowling around stabbing people at the end of the day. And you can see that shit on the news. So, we tend to avoid that. So we've got like the kind of 2 levels of everything we do in the house. I think if it was me and the missus sitting down, she would 100% force me to watch each one of the Halloweens in order I know that for a fact. Probably even though she doesn't like all of the Halloweens,
Yeah.
she very much likes Michael Myers. For me, if I had one myself, I'd always go back probably to the original Hellraiser. First
Okay.
Hellraiser would be my ideal one. And if we were doing it from a more family perspective, we'd probably come in a little bit lighter. Probably something like, I don't know, a Final Destination or Aliens or something like that.
Okay, yeah, yeah, a little bit more campy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you kind of like that American teen horror, but again, keeping it outside of the realms because the balancing act we always have with that is some of them go too far in a sexualization, and that's
Yeah.
like what we're trying to avoid. Like, do you know what I mean? Like some of these films, like you look at them, like for example, I was very surprised. You probably knew this, or you may have knew this already,
Mm.
that all of the Scream films, every one of them are rated 18.
Yeah.
Which I was surprised by because we were actually the other day we were like, oh, maybe that would be a good introduction because that's not
Mm.
too scary, is it? But they were all rated 18. But then I think a lot of them are because of apparently it hints at rape and it hints at like that sort of stuff, and that's the thing that bumps it up the numbers, I guess.
Well, look, I mean, there is obviously sex is a major part of it, but one of the things I think people forget about the Scream movies is that they are, at least the first two that I can remember, very violent and very gory,
Yeah.
like really violent. You kind of forget that aspect. You see lingering shots on bloodied corpses, and that's always a bit of a censor issue.
Mm.
Okay, keeping in time of that, but a little bit difference on it, and sticking with the Scream because do your best ghost face voice. What's your favorite scary movie and why?
What is my favorite scary movie?
Mm.
My favorite horror movie of all time
Yeah.
would be Hellraiser.
Okay.
Um, I've always, from a character perspective, loved the idea of the Cenobites.
Yeah.
Always the kind of hell, pain, pleasure side. I think it's a really fucking cool story. Book form as well. Like not that I've read a lot of the books, but obviously the author was kind of renowned for you know, going quite deep with the horror.
Mm-hmm.
So Hellraiser has always resonated with me. I really, really, really enjoyed that. That's probably my favorite movie all overall from a horror perspective. But I am interchangeable. You know, like I would say that I don't watch Hellraiser to be scared. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think. I don't watch as much horror as you. So even so, I still don't think that there's many films that are that scary anymore.
Yeah.
Probably creep factor, things around ghosts, stumps, can still kind of creep me a little bit. You know, like not necessarily a paranormal activity, but it's not even that recent anymore. But like for example, I quite enjoyed the movie Conjuring.
Okay. Yep.
You know, I thought that was quite good. And it's that I like subtlety in horror. Do you know what I mean? I like it to be sometimes hinted at, not like rammed in my face. You know, so whereas Hellraiser, I think, is a wonderful story.
Mm.
Um, but then if I wanted to be scared, I'd probably look for something that's a bit more subtle, maybe a bit more, you know, like have to think about it a little bit, you know.
Nuances. I get that. I get that. So then continuing, what's your earliest memory of seeing a horror movie?
I don't know, like, because memories when you get back younger are jumbled. So I can tell you because I was talking about this last night actually, when we were trying to, me and the missus were trying to decide what's a good introductory horror film for our kid,
Mm.
and I said like we were talking about A Nightmare on Elm Street, but then we were talking about it as in that's not, because the problem is that's all about a dude attacking you in your dreams. That's too real. That's sort of shit you can have nightmares about. And then I remembered my earliest
It's got lots of
memory
sense.
of being afraid
Yep.
was so I don't know which one it is. You'll know. You'll know. They're one of the Nightmare on Elm Streets. I think it's Nancy falls asleep in the bath, but
Yep.
she doesn't realize she's fallen asleep. And then is it the first one? He comes out of the plug or
Oh,
whatever. And I remember, don't know where I was, don't know how old I was, but I remember being a young kid in a bath, fucking petrified of that plug, like curled up the other end of the bath, staring at that fucking thing, doing things like pinching myself every now and then,
make sure
and
you're awake.
having like the world's quickest baths on the off chance that I nod off, while never for a second taking my fucking eyes off that plug area. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm watching that shit, man. I am ready for this. And that's probably my earliest like memory. I was young, like, but I don't know how young.
Mm.
You know, I know when I was younger, like you know yourself, like there was no real like off limit sort of movie. It was like if the parents were watching it, you could choose to watch it or you could choose to not.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the only kind of nightmare vision or anything like that I have memory from my youth. Weirdly.
Yeah, weirdly, yeah, because as a male, you would have thought maybe like Johnny Depp in the bed or something like that would have been a bit more.
Yeah, it's just that scene. I don't know what it is about it. I don't know. It just creeped me out, man.
Well, what about then in real life? Have you ever experienced something unusual or unexplainable in real life?
Yeah, but only from humans. Consistently unexplainable.
You, basically, have
Consistently
you experienced
horrific.
anything horrific? Well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
I've never seen it, like anything at all ever in my life
Mm-hmm.
that suggests to me any form of otherworldly paranormal fucking shit, other than what people just imagine up in their head.
Okay.
Horror in real life is played every single day for us on the news. You know, you want to see horror, looking the Ukrainian war. That's the thing. You know, I hear like I know people that tell me stories about like why they know like ghosts are real and shit like that because like this one thing happened to them sometime. And from my perspective, it's utter bollocks.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. I think it's utter bollocks. So, but I've also never experienced anything at all. I once thought I saw a UFO. But I was also with a couple of mates and we was out of our tree, and it could also have been a plane, but we were pretty fucking sure that was a UFO. And we spoke about it the whole night and we told people about it. But that's about it. That's as close as it gets. I don't think like anyone was believing us, and unfortunately, that wasn't really the era of smartphones. So we also have no photographic evidence.
What a shame. What a shame.
Yeah.
What's the best modern horror you've seen recently? And I define modern in the last decade.
Hmm. Probably The Conjuring for me.
Okay.
Then the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really like a lot of the secondary films that kind of came on with the family, you know, like Back to Doll and that. Like I can't
Yeah,
remember.
Annabelle and Conjuring.
Annabelle, that's it. You know, I didn't really fall for any. Like I didn't find the same enjoyment in that, but I did enjoy the first film. I enjoyed it because it's modern enough, but it also was set back in time and they used practical effects and like it kind of gave me like a nostalgic feel, like I was watching an old school horror movie for the first time as well. But I enjoyed it. So yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, then favorite type of horror. And by this, I mean genre based. So slashers, paranormal, torture porn.
I don't even know all the genres, so I'll describe it and you can say what genre it is. But
Okay, that's fine.
um, I get trying to right. Let me try and think of a couple of like a film as an example. I don't even know if I have a film as an example. I like slow pace. That's the thing with my horror. I don't like slasher. I don't like action. I don't like things going all fucking crazy and everything like that, and people are running around screaming and shit. I like slow pace. I like a film that kind of subtly hints at something going on. It doesn't necessarily have to be a ghost, but like the way that Paranormal Activity 1 is
Yeah.
played out, I enjoy that kind of pace to a film. I like the idea of like I'm watching the screen, I'm trying to figure it out myself and like work it all out. I don't like films that use gore as the main basis of horror. I don't mind gore being in the film, but I don't like, you know, this is a film about people getting stabbed up, and the horror part of it is let's just keep showing like people getting cut. That's the only thing we're going to see. I find I get more creeped out and scared by, you know, building up and like maybe having a bit of a twist or something like that at the end of it.
The
But
problem is yeah, I mean, there isn't like you know, you're talking tension building.
yeah,
Most of that does rely, or at least surround predominantly paranormal, ghostly goings on. You
yeah,
can't really do that with slashers to a certain degree and so on. So you kind of get lumbered and almost caught into that sort of area. Because what you're describing, I'm thinking in my head, I'm thinking, right, it's a paranormal activity. But I also think of, say, films like Grave Encounters and all that, still all ghost based.
yeah, yeah. No, but I mean, the problem is that sometimes what I also I agree. Like, yeah, most like even when you're saying the films, like you know, if I what would I prefer to watch, say, a Saw or a Paranormal Activity?
Yeah.
styled film. That's the problem. So I don't want to watch Paranormal Activity again, but a styled film, I'd probably gravitate more towards the Paranormal Activity stuff.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's that wide ranging, capturing an idea, without it being a specific fucking series of movies, because that series of movies lost all subtlety as it went on.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, what's a horror cliche that you just hate, that you just can't stand?
What's a horror cliche that I just can't stand? I mean, it's one of the main reasons I hate most of the slasher genre of it is the stereotypical character that you get in them. So especially when it's not just Scream, but when you go down those kind of American style slasher movies, of which there was a period where there were many of them churned out.
Oh yeah.
And it's so like, it's here's your jock, here's your fit cheerleader styled bird, here's your quite pretty but a bit more conservative and reserved girl, here's the guy that's a bit weird and maybe has long hair and possibly listens to rock. He probably listens to rock. I hate that. I hate the lack of depth, like when they just go, right, we're making a film, where's our 6 characters, where's our black dude, do you know what I mean? That's the thing for me. I think characters in some films, they just sorely lack any kind of depth and development.
No, that's fair. And it is very slasher based. It's interesting. I'm going to gloss over that because that might come back up at the very, very end, that specific set of characters. Okay. There are many iconic horror movie characters, but there are 3 basics. If you were talking about pillars and building a foundation, it's partially built on a foundation of these 3 gentlemen: Freddy, Michael, Jason. Who is your favorite and why? And I'm talking about their movies as well, e.g. the series of films they're in, not just a character. So, of course, we're talking about, if you don't know, for people out there, Freddy Krueger from the Nightmare on Elm Street movie series, Michael Myers from the Halloween movie series, and Jason Voorhees from the Friday the 13th series.
I mean, I very quickly discounted one, like almost instantly, and settled on that was Jason. And then I settled on 2, and I think overall, I probably prefer Michael now, but when I was younger, I preferred Freddy. But so I'll go with Michael because I've got to choose one, because I think, do I? I think maybe there's more of an overall body of work, I guess.
Are you enjoying the David Gordon Green series of movies we've had? Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and the upcoming Halloween.
I am, yeah. And I mean, I don't know if it will or not. Who knows with these things? But it's meant to be the last one, and But yeah, I have enjoyed it. I thought they've been good. I don't think they always offer anything like new on the character as such, but they're good films like to watch. Back when I was a kid, like I thought Freddy was the epitome of evil.
Yeah,
like, do you know what I mean? That's what I was. But then I can't remember if it was a remake or something like that. Like, kind of killed a lot of that for me when they made him like a nonce and all that sort of stuff, and I was like, oh, the fuck, man! Like, or they reversed it and he wasn't a nonce; he was just like a bully.
He was a nonce. Then they said he wasn't, and then they revealed at the end that he was.
Yeah.
So they just went back on it.
Yeah. So like, yeah, and the problem with Freddy is like, I think Freddy in like the first couple of movies is like evil as fuck, and then Freddy by the end of the films is like in some of the films is more like a jovial clown like character.
Wes Craven's New Nightmare, the very meta Freddy Krueger movie, would utilize the insane popularity of Freddy Krueger as its sort of plot piece that this villain had become pop culture-ish.
Yeah, exactly. And then he also, like, we ended up with stupid fucking crossovers and stuff like Freddy versus Jason, which is
a fun movie, though.
It's fun, but it's also dumb as fuck, man. Whereas Michael, I always kind of like, if I had one thing that I enjoyed about Michael Myers more than anything else was the fact that he doesn't really say anything, and that is that sort of tension building subtlety. Like, that's what I like. He's not running around like Freddy doing like Arnold Schwarzenegger one-liners and stuff as he stabs people, which kind of killed the character a little bit. It's that silent kind of brooding Hulk sort of fucking stabbing thing. So yeah, I think overall I'd probably choose Michael.
Jason gives you no talk. He gives you no lip.
No, that's true. Space. He goes to space,
Space.
which is probably the point when I was thinking like, oh, well, who's the one? I think that was when I went, who's the one who went to space? Jason. Yep, I'll discount him.
Okay, 70s sleaze or 80s cheese? What's your poison and why?
I'd probably go 80s cheese. Why? I don't know. Child of the 80s. I remember a lot of the films of the 80s. I've seen many more 80s films than I have 70s films. I think. It's hard to know sometimes. I don't really always know. Like when I watch a film, it could be like that 79 or 80 or 81. But a lot of the 80s films I remember, they're part of like my growing up, really. That's what it is more than anything else.
No, fair enough. All right, here's a couple of would you rather. So you've got to picture your mind and imagine you're in the scenario that it is. So, would you rather spend the night in 112 Ocean Avenue, aka the Amityville House, or Hill House, aka the Haunting/the Haunting of Hill House?
I think you're really in for a great time wherever you stay.
That's the point.
I'll go for the Haunting of Hill House. Let me stay at Hill House. I have less memories of those films than I do the Amityville films, so I can just hopefully go into it oblivious and hope that nothing happens.
Fair enough. Would you rather play a game, Saw, or be shown such sights? Hellraiser.
I'll go with Hellraiser.
Really?
Yeah, I know I ain't coming out of either one of them things alive, mate. So I can go to Saw, where the geezer can like fucking toy with me and make me hurt myself, or I can just at least I get to meet the Cenobites before I go. I'm like, oh, hey, can I have your autograph? Stealthy, and then I'm fucked.
Fair enough. Would you rather have a good guy doll, Chucky, or an Annabelle doll? Annabelle or the Conjuring?
I would probably rather have a Chucky doll because the thing with Chucky is like just tries to stab you and shit like that, man. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you don't need a fucking doll. In reality, if it really happened, aside from if he sneaks up on you, he just pull them to pieces and like separate the pieces or some shit like that. It only works in the movies, doesn't it? The problem with the Annabelle thing is it wasn't the fucking doll that was the problem. It was the curse or the ghost or the spirit or whatever that inhabited it. You know, so that shit was doing more than just sneaking up and like sticking you with a knife. It was fucking with you.
Yeah. You'd spend like weeks just, it's moved position. And that just ended up driving you pissed off more than anything else. Okay. Would you rather be stuck in the Burkittsville, Maryland woods, Blair Witch, or stuck in the caves of the Appalachian Mountains? I think I'm saying that right. The Descent. So either way, you're stuck.
Yeah, I'm stuck. Well, basically, I'm gonna say I'd rather be stuck in the woods, simply because I'm not underground in the fucking complete pitch darkness with those creatures and shit, like where I can hear them but I can't see them. I'd rather at least have an opportunity to like run for my fucking life.
Love it.
I've got a better chance of running for my life than I have of climbing for my life. That's a simple fact.
Fantastic. Okay, one more. Would you rather be hunted by the predator or by the alien?
By the alien.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to go for. And the reason I chose it, but then rapidly thought, well, actually, that's exactly the same case for the predator, is in every single film that the alien is in, some humans survive. That could be me. I could be Ripley.
Could you be Sigourney Weaver? I'm not sure.
I could be bald.
Could you be Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Less likely. He has like a minigun and shit, man. Like Newt just hid in a vent. Do you know what I mean? Like Arnie has like miniguns and like extremely large arms.
But
he barely survived.
Does the swing not like, because I would never choose the alien, because the alien is going to impregnate you with a chest burster inevitably. The predator is likely just to kill you outright. Even if he's going to skin you after, you're dead.
Yeah. I mean, can I choose the environment I'm in?
What, like run into a tree and die?
No, like I will take on the alien.
Yeah.
in on an ice skating rink.
Okay. I still think you'd lose.
Yeah,
Can you ice
probably.
skate that well?
No, but I'm imagining it being like a deer.
You might be right.
Do you know what I mean? Like if you put me in space on a spaceship against the alien in a closed environment that actually there's no way you can escape from other than hide and hope, then like yeah, you've got no choice. But if it's like, you know, you're in the middle of the woods, you got a predator hunting you, or you got an alien hunting you, I reckon I can find a place to hide.
Okay.
Probably the predator, man. He can read my heat signals.
That's true.
Unless I cover myself in mud.
Yeah. Last one, and it's going back to what we were saying about traditional slasher movies. It's simply this: what character do you think you'd be in a traditional slasher movie? And I use some examples: the nerd, the jock, the cheerleader, the outcast, the final girl.
I'm not going to be the final girl. I know that. I reckon I'm out early. I'm like the non-essential character who maybe delivers the pizza.
Okay.
And like at some point, like just turns up with a pizza, gives them the pizza, and then like 20 minutes later, they look out the window and go, "Hey, the pizza guy's bike's still there," and that's all they know.
Brilliant.
That's who I am.
Oh, that's so fucking funny. That's brilliant. Excellent. You want to go and answer them? You want to answer them? Do so in the comments. Let us know what you think. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?